Hi, welcome to the first content module in this course on ES6. In this module, I want to have a look at the most important syntax changes and additions ES6 brought, and there are quite a lot of them, so let's dive right into it. So I'm inside JSBin here to type my TypeScript code here on the left, and then see the output in the console right here on the right. And the thing I want to start with is let and const. So let and const are new keywords added by ES6, and they allow us to change the way we work with variables, or, like the name const implies, use constants. So before I come to the question why we need that, let me first show you how it works. Imagine we have a variable name, and in the past we would have said name equals max, for example. And this will still work if I print this name to the console. We'll of course see max. So var still exists with ES6, and of course that will always be the case since we need it for backward compatibility. However, ES6 also offers a different way to create a variable. We can use let. Now with let, what do you think will happen if I hit run? We still see max. So it seems like it's doing the exact same thing, just a different syntax, right? So why would we use let instead of var? Well, if you maybe remember my JavaScript bootcamp course or are in general familiar with JavaScript, you'll probably know that we have the global scope and the function scope or the local scope. But JavaScript doesn't really have any block scoping, and block scoping of course refers to the fact that a variable is contained between curly braces, like in an if statement, for example. So in the past, if we had something like this, if true, and then between the curly braces, so in the body of this if statement, we would have a variable named name, which would be max, and if we hit run, this would work. Now with let, this variable is now contained inside this block. So what do you think will happen if I hit run now? I'm referring to the name of my window object, and it becomes much clearer if I use another name like age, for example. So if I now print out age, we'll even get an error that age is not defined. So let allows us to use block scoping, which means contain the variable in the body, like here in the if statement, where it is defined. So if I define it outside of there too, let's say I also have age of 30, what do you think will now happen if I ever hit run? Well, now I see 30 because, again, the part inside the if statement inside this block, that's why it's called block scoping, isn't touched. It isn't accessible outside of this statement. Therefore, if I log the age inside of this if statement, I'll of course see 27 and 30. So I'll first print 27 inside the if statement and then 30 outside of it. And that is why let is really useful and powerful. It allows us to finally use block scoping in JavaScript 2, which of course is an important addition, clearing many of the confusions that might have arisen if you used variables in, let's say, for loops, and you were able to access them from outside, or even the value might have changed inside of that due to some external value being set or anything like that. With let, you can make sure that the variable you use inside of a block stays inside of that block and isn't touched from outside and isn't accessible outside of it. So that is why let is really powerful. Now, why wasn't var just changed to work like this? Well, of course, for backward compatibility reasons. If you would change var to behave like this, you would pretty sure render a lot of code useless because var was used in a different way. Therefore, it's important to have this new keyword let. So that was a lot of talking about let, but it's really core to understand how let differs from var, that we are able to block scope with it, and that it otherwise behaves like var. It's a variable. We may change it. We may reassign age here to 29, and if I hit now run, we see 29. So we can use it like a variable. The important difference is the block scope.